Okay.
It says it's recording. I
Okay.
don't know.
All right, good. So,
By the way, Matt, you're not sharing yet.
yeah, I know. I'm clicking on some buttons here. I got what I needed to, so let's do this. Find my Zoom screen and share. All right, can you start seeing my screen?
Gotcha.
All right, I've got a couple things up. Let's look at the Android store here. I'll try to make it bigger. So the URL I went to was play.google.com/app/publish. Then it asked me to log in, which I did. And by default, it just shows you all of your applications, which happen to be Cary Connects. We've got 6 active installs. So once we officially launch our website and we put a link to download the app and people know about the parking app, then that should help out. Let's turn off all these notification things here. All right, good. All right. So it's kind of cool. It tells you how many active installs. It's been published, updated on May 17th. You can click into your app. Installs by user. Okay, so it's, they try to show you some interesting things. There's not a whole bunch of data here. We do have a 5.0 rating. Just scrolling down through here. 1 install in the United States. Our top country is the United States. That's great.
For Downtown Cary parking.
So, all right, so that's what we got. So we got a dashboard, statistics. I'll just click through these. So it tells you what version of Android is being run. Installs on active devices. So somebody tried it, whatever. So it actually says all Android versions. We got 7 installs. So not all active. What else do we got here? All right. Vitals, overview, crash reports. If anyone had a crash, and they allow their crash data to be submitted, then we would learn about that. So they've got some, they have something called internal app sharing. I'm not going to accept that because I don't know what it is. How do I cancel? Let's see. There we go. Internal app sharing. So the one that's the most important to us is this release management. To release your app, I should probably take that back a little bit. You have to go through something called the store presence and set up a store listing. So let's look at that real quick. Short description, a full description. Try to hide some of this stuff here. There we go. Full description, graphic assets. So it tells you you need to supply a high-res icon. This is how it's going to look. That looks great. Screenshots have to be submitted. At least 2 screenshots are required. So I took a screenshot of the about and a screenshot of the, unfortunately, the search page, because the map wasn't working the day I was submitting all this on the emulator. So it would be nice to have an actual one with the map and some stuff about the parking lots. So we ought to just add those. We can add more. We can rearrange them. When you pull up our listing, they have something called a feature graphic. So this is like a banner that can appear above the app listing. Let's just look at the Cary Parking App, Cary Connects. Where is this thing? Cary Connects Google Play. I haven't seen the listing. Usually I don't want to go to the bookstore, but All right, so this is one I should have pulled up earlier. Let's just search.
You got to go to apps.
Yeah.
I think it's erased. Not very friendly.
All right. Yep, so the main, yep. I think when I look at it on mobile, it looks a little bit different. So it usually shows that banner. But our description, you can publish what's new. Visit the website, code for Cary. So I had to put an email address in, and you can't hide it. So I just threw one of my own on there, cary.org. So once we have the web app on a dedicated domain, we could probably relink it. All right, so go back to the console. Those are the requirements. You can add some other things, a video. You have to categorize your app. So I just threw it under maps and navigation. You have to click through this content rating survey, and they assign it a rating. So 3+, ages 3 and up are allowed to use our app. Here's that website. An email address is required. You can put a phone number in. We actually do need to submit a privacy policy. I guess it let me submit everything without it, but we need to backtrack and do that. It's always nice to tell people what data we're collecting. They've got, looks like some new things on here. Store listing experiments, I've never tried that. You can set a price, so we've set it to free. It's available in 148 plus rest of the world countries. They want to know if it has ads in it. So, all right, let's go back to the release. Version 1.01003 has been rolled out. I'm going to go click Manage Release. A lot of advertisements here. Optimize the size of your next release. Reduce the size by using an Android app bundle. Production track. So we can release a beta version. We can do some closed alpha tests. I've done some of those before where you can just send the app to specific emails. Let's go to this production track. Okay, we're on, again, the release. You have to have a bundle, so I'll show you how to build that in a minute. This shows a bunch of data. App release history. So April 28th, did 2 of those. Must have had a major glitch just to do it the same day. All right, so when you're ready to roll out a new version, you say create release, this button in the top right. Wants you to upload a file, so I'll show you how to do that. Once you upload the file, it usually pre-fills a bunch of this stuff in. So enter a release name based on the bundle. So yeah, usually fills it in from once I upload the bundle. And let's see, the last release I said, okay, so place information has been improved to display on more devices, because remember we had a bug there. So if we release one today, there's no changes, so I'm not going to do it. But all this needs now is the file. So, and then once you submit the file, you say publish, you save it. It says, are you sure? And then you hit the publish and it starts to roll it out. All right, so let's look at the files, some scripts that will create.
Hey, Matt, quick question for you.
Yes.
From the time that you publish it to the time it's available, do you happen to know what that looks like?
No, not exactly. I haven't really, checked how long it takes. All right, so it should be, within 24 hours. You would get a notice on your Android that it's, got an update and it may have auto-installed it. All right, so this is the Cary Connects repo, the GitHub repo. Anything in red is just my personal work files that I have not uploaded. So I have something called an
Hang on a
Android.
second. Can you
Yes.
hang on a second?
Sorry.
We're back.
Sorry.
All right.
Did you go away?
I was trying to adjust it, but that didn't work.
You're back.
All right. Okay, so if you got my screen up, I was just saying, here's our app. I've got a couple extra directories on my system. I've got this signed apps directory with a Cary Connects APK, which is the Android package file. That's the last one I uploaded to Google Play. And in order to generate that, you have to have an Android key store. And there's a tool with Android called Key Tool. You say, and this is, I got this from somewhere, probably, from the Android documentation. I'm going to generate a key pair. I do this one time and one time only because whatever developer is uploading the app should use the same key store. Otherwise, there's some exceptions thrown. This looks like a different app. It was signed by a different person. Are you sure you're going to want to do this, etc. But you can use a different key store. And this is how it was generated. You just, this says verbose. Here, I want it in this key store file name. I'm going to call it the code for Cary key, RSA, SHA1 with RSA. This is all just what was in the documentation. Validity for 10,000 days or something like that. So once you run that, you get this key store file. It will ask you to put in a password, to password protect your key. And that's, so now that we have a key store, this Android key store file, the binary file, you can now use Titanium to build with it. So that next script, and I'll probably post this, some of these, it's no big deal. When I run the sign app script, here's what I'm sending to Titanium. I'll make that a little bit bigger too. So I'm going to build to Android. This time I'm going to tell it that my target is distributing to the Play Store. And to use this key store file with this password and this, whatchamacallit, username, password, and alias. So there's something in here that matches up with the file. And then I'm going to output the package to my Android signed apps directory. And I'll actually run that in just a second. Right after that, I use this jar signer tool because you have to sign your app before you upload it. So this is also in the Android documentation. All right, so I will take this line here, let's see, and build. I'll zoom in here too.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
All right. All right, so from the command line, I'm just told it to do the build.
And this is actually this is Titanium's command line. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So while this is building real quick, just to let you guys know, just like React is a JavaScript library, Titanium is also JavaScript. So you can build a native app with JavaScript as well as a React web page with JavaScript.
So wait, is it a part of Java? Like, is it a module to Java?
Nope, not at all.
How does it work?
There's a titanium package you have to run and install on your Mac in your case. So once you get that, then you can build an app just by writing JavaScript using the titanium library.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, what's the thing that works on top of titanium? Like, is it based on Java or like something?
Yeah, so titanium, right, Matt, titanium will compile into a native Java app for Android and into a native, it's Swift for iOS, right?
It's Xcode, but it may not be Swift yet.
Okay,
Probably Objective-C.
Objective-C, okay. So it takes the JavaScript calls that you create and translates them into the appropriate language calls for those functions. But
So the code is JavaScript.
what you write is JavaScript, right? So the application that Matt is compiling here is written in JavaScript, and then it's compiled into Java for Android. So it makes it we're using a common language base, if you will.
Right.
So we all speak JavaScript. The app side it's a little more involved because you have the Titanium library, but the web page is also a little more involved because you got the React library.
So React Native also uses JavaScript.
Correct.
But what code editor what do you usually use when you're using
So you see what like Matt is using. He uses I think you're using the code, the free code editor. Is that what you're using, Matt?
Yeah, I use IntelliJ, but it's the same company that makes the Android Studio.
So you can use almost any editor you want because you're basically. The good thing is you're just editing JavaScript, right? So you don't need anything really heavy duty to do JavaScript, right? You can do it in Notepad if you want it, or just a basic text editor. Although it is a little bit better if you do it in something that understands JavaScript.
You get the hints and
right, exactly. And you can like run commands and things like this to keep things kind of tidy.
All right, so you can see it says writing an unsigned package file, then it's signing it. And it says it's complete.
Less than 3 minutes.
When I get this Android package, I'm going to run that jar signer, which just said verify. It says jar signer -verify. So it might just be verifying it. Let's see what it says. It might not actually be writing anything. Let's see what it actually. Why did I think it was necessary to do this? I don't know. Jar verified, signed by Brigade Engineer, code for Cary, in North Carolina. So it's just outputting things from the key store. Jar verified. Sorry about the certificate chain is not verified. That's okay. So that step might not have been needed, but it's just nice to know that it did it correctly. And if we look at that file, it looks untouched, right? So,
and that's that file that you would use when you're saying browse for file. That's the one you would upload to the store.
Yes. So that's exactly right. We come in here. Now this, I'll choose it because it's going to give me an error on purpose, right? So I know it's going to come in here and it's going to say, you use the same version number, you idiot. See? You need to use a different version code because you already have one with version 3. So this is good. So that's another step I want to point out. I've had this happen enough times that, I would never upload something. So in our TI app file, this is a lot of important information in here about the app. It's in our code base. So when I go to release, I want to increment this version number. So it's a 1004 because it's just got some minor changes. And then down below, there's a specific Android section which also has a version code. So I increment it here and give it that same name here. And this was from some trial and error that I realized you had to do it. So if you don't do it, you'll get error messages about version codes and version names. and then you would redo the whole thing and upload it again. Okay, so that's the approach. Any questions on the Android side? We'll jump over to the other side too.
I'll go to the dark side.
All right.
I presume you've already, since am I correct in presuming that you have already deployed this in the iTunes store?
No, I have not done anything on the iTunes side.
Okay, so this will be live.
Yeah.
Live deployment of the iOS.
So, and we might not get the whole way, but we could definitely get it to the point where it's in test flight. So we can do a public test.
Our first testers.
I'm the active person for Android. I've done no time.
And test.
That's the best you can come up.
All right. So I just logged in to the App Store, and it says the license agreement has been updated. Contact Ian.
I'm here.
Ian, tell us about our license.
So what this is, what happens every time? So Apple just announced a new version of the operating system on Monday. It's going to come. They have a number of improvements to iOS. They've got a new version of Xcode coming out. It's all in developer beta right now. Right. So developers can download all sorts of new stuff. And they always come out with a new license agreement when they come out with new stuff. So Ian is our legal person and has to log in and accept that.
I'm doing that right as we speak. It wasn't there earlier today.
And it says he must accept it by August 17th. I'm not sure what happens after June 17th.
You have 11 days.
Yeah. All right, so this is good. We can still work with this.
Okay. I just agreed to it.
Okay.
So refresh.
Should be good.
All right.
That's his pre-humors.
All right.
Okay, thank God we're back.
So everyone's getting the full effect here, which is nice.
That's true.
Yep.
These
so
you run into.
Yep. When you log in as a developer to the Apple Developer Program, there's three main areas: managing the people and your teams, working on the certificates, and actually building and publishing your app to the App Store. This is kind of the marketing side and where you turn on, if it's paid or not, if you want to enable different countries. But in order to get your app into that area, you have to start with this certificates, identifiers, and profiles. And it's kind of like the Android side where we had to build a key store, but Apple uses their own tools for that. So let's see, get started with certificates. Let's create a certificate. And they have a bunch of different kinds. So Apple development, this is new. I don't have Xcode 11. It says for use in Xcode 11 or later. And I don't even think Xcode 11 is out publicly, so we'll do the old way, which is we're going to, sign your iOS app for submission to the App Store or for ad hoc. So that's what we want to do. Definitely want to have a certificate that allows us to do that. All right, so Apple, again, they use their own tools. So you got to go to something called the keychain. Okay, that's great. And in the keychain, they have a certificate assistant. And so first of all, let me just make sure I've clicked on, usually it doesn't have all this, what is this, with this member thing? Let me unselect something, there we go. There, yep, okay, cool. So normally when you go into the keychain app, and every Mac comes with it, it's a great place for storing your passwords. They're automatically stored here by Safari. They're shared to your Apple devices, and if you forget your password, you can always come into the keychain and look them up. So pretty cool. Anyhow, we're going to request a certificate from a certificate authority. And want some password stuff here. I'll jot that in. And we're going to save it to disk. So put in your email address. It doesn't matter what you put here. I've never seen it used anywhere. And I usually, for the common name, I say something like code for Cary certificate.
Okay.
Where do you want to save it? Just jot it down somewhere. Really want all of your passwords here. Once you've generated that, it says create a new certificate. So I'm back at the website. If you wanted to learn how to do that, you would just hit this learn more. It tells you exactly the same thing. Choose your file. That's incorrect. RSA 2048. All right, never seen that. So let me just see if there's any other new approach to this. Launch the keychain, request a certificate, leave the email address empty, put a name, example, dev key, enter an email address, and hit continue. So that's pretty much exactly what I did.
Yeah.
And I've never seen that.
Can you look at your preferences? Because what it was complaining about was the size of the RSA hash. I think it's looking for 2048. Well, that doesn't tell us.
Yeah, I don't see an option for that.
Right.
That is really weird. I hope we don't hit a roadblock here.
So request a certificate, right?
Let me see what this. Okay, so there's no configured. Okay, that's fine.
Which is, yes, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some private keys that I've created as a developer. That does say 2048 RSA.
Yeah.
So which one did I just make? Let's make a new one and just try it out again.
Well, that's a certificate. It's a request that you're making.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So this request, I'll just leave the email, it doesn't matter. It's actually the iOS key, the apt key or whatever. Save to disk, continue. I'll save it somewhere else. I'll put it in that Android signed apps directory. Maybe it didn't like it being in the cloud or something. Oh, cannot be found. That's weird.
That is weird.
Is it because you're not saving it to your keychain somehow?
Hey, do you know where the pass?
Oh.
Doesn't matter. Well,
Normally we have it right here.
fine.
We will fix that momentarily. Hi, Leah.
Come for dinner.
Look at it. We're actually deploying the app to the iOS store as we speak. So.
Oh, okay. Seems interesting.
All right. This is, so why did I say continue and then, there's no other option here. Just doesn't like Android signed apps.
Doesn't. Okay, let's see.
Cary Connects Mobile. All right, so it didn't save it. I must have had another one on my desktop. So I'm not really sure what to do here.
Well, can you try to save with the default option again and just see if that, well, if you look in Finder, just grab the timestamp on the file, make sure it either updates that one or does something to it or something to that effect. Does that make sense? Okay.
So, yeah, so that was dated June 6th. So it generated it.
Right.
Let's just try one more, just try reading it one more time.
Yeah, using defaults. Expected RSA 24.
Yeah. So on that certificate authority, I did do the defaults. So I'd probably do it on another computer and try it over there.
Okay.
Because like I said, I was just doing this all day. Let me just make sure. But it didn't ask me that just a second ago. But for Cary, you always have to say save to disk and then continue. It really should say replace. It says it's been created.
And now if you look at the timestamp, it updated, right?
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it is different, yeah.
Looks about the same though, as far as the length goes.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it determines, well, I guess it decodes it in the request.
All right, I'm scooting over for just a second.
Okay.
I'm going to do this really quick on another PC.
Is there a way to pause the record?
Yeah, I mean, I can, because I'm recording it on mine. I did get a notification that our free meeting will end pretty soon, so maybe I should stop it and restart.
Oh, one person has to sign off.
Oh, okay, I can sign off. Oh,
No,
no.
Free is only good for two people to be in total.
No, well, I have 3 minutes and 14 seconds remaining, but I can restart a new one.
Yeah, why don't we, since you're going to be doing this, why don't we'll start a new one and you join back. Is that okay, Matt?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Perfect. So
So I'll stop recording.